Touching fingertips, looking in your eyes, gazing at the moon in the dead of night. Hello my dears, I am back with another video. So I'm going to showcase to you how I managed to recreate a Blogilates inspired look. Get this, for 50 cents. This is what I made. So if that sounds fun to you, keep watching. Also, if you're new here, my name is Kim Darling. This is my fashion channel where I talk about fashion, alteration, sustainability, wardrobe playtime, all that fun stuff. I'm also a musician. If you like my music that was in the intro or the end credits, you can go check me out on my music channel, Somber Mercy. So what inspired this idea was being poor and also my creativity. These things have always served me pretty well. I thought it might as well be time for me to showcase them by filming them and revealing them to the world. Cassie's new drop, it is more exclusive than the last one, so if you've noticed it's been hard to get a hold of any of these pieces, you're not alone. On the flip side, don't feel like you missed out Don't feel like you missed out if you weren't able to get something you liked, because I can show you how you can make something with a very similar feel. First up, I want to talk to you about what I did get from the series. I only managed to get one item, which was fine by me. I liked the color scheme on her first release better than this one, so it wasn't a huge loss. The only thing I really liked was this white and blue romper. I really liked the Sweetheart rompers from the last series. Being able to get this cute mini summer one was pretty ideal for me and my wardrobe personally. I also really like white and blue, and I knew this was going to be soft and comfy since the first one was. The things I have to say about it would be, this was still a little too big on me, even though I got the extra small, so I did take the sides in just a little bit. The other thing that was interesting was for the straps, she used a different type of fabric than the stretchy modal that she used for the body. This is a poly crepe de chine fabric. It feels like a chiffon, but it's not as see-through. And it doesn't have much stretch to it. I think that was smart. It makes sense because that helps with being able to tie the straps, I think, without it continuously stretching. But there also wasn't any hanger loops or whatever they're called. The things that usually are in the under armpit, the thing that we all tear out of our clothing when we get it because they're annoying and itchy or sticking out awkwardly. So I'm not sure if this sort of thing would have any problem sitting on a hanger and getting deformed over time. More so for organic fabrics like cotton, wool, and sweaters, because they're made out of cotton and wool typically. For me personally, because I think the bows look a little bit frumpy when they're tied like this, I am going to actually just sew them down. They are forever bows that I'll never need to adjust again, because once I put it on and tightened it as much as I wanted, I realized where it sits good, so that's probably what I'm going to do. Overall, do I like this piece? I do. I like it enough to keep. I think that when I put it on, I noticed that it wasn't the most flattering thing I own on my figure, but it might have just been a silhouette I'm not used to. So I paired it with a belt. I noticed that I liked that a little bit better, so in general I might play around with more belts or accessories or other ways to style it, because it is super soft and I like having super soft stuff I can run around in for the summer. So there was a top on Cassie's website and a skirt. It was a workout skirt that was in the same white and blue pattern as the romper, and it was really cute. The top definitely sold out really fast, so it was hard to get a hold of, but that's where my creativity came into play. So I went to my local thrift store and I ran across this fabric, and it reminded me a lot of what I liked in Cassie's series. In general, I do like white and blue or a nice cream and blue color scheme, so it was bound to happen. I couldn't pass up the fact that this fabric was 50 cents. This is what I made. I also made a matching skirt, which I will be showcasing as well. I'll go ahead and move into showing you my creations and talking a little bit about how I did it. And I'll talk a little bit about the process and how you can go about this yourself if it inspires you and you feel
inclined to do so. It's not really a full tutorial walkthrough, it's just more so some behind the scenes stuff. So here's my thrifted fabric. As you can see, I don't have very much to work with. I also have white lining fabric, just plain cotton, and my printed pattern pieces. So next up, I'm going to go ahead and lay it out on my table and basically puzzle piece it together. If you've never worked with a digitally printed PDF pattern, this is pretty common. It's kind of fun to puzzle piece it together. I will say I have done a very, very, very large one that was so big I had to lay it out on the floor, and that took forever. So luckily this one was able to fit completely on the table. But yeah, just watch out for those bigger pattern pieces. Next up, I am cutting out my pattern pieces. I do tend to mod my pattern pieces, so just keep that in mind when you see them throughout the video. Sometimes I make the straps or different aspects a little bit thicker or thinner, or the length a little bit shorter or longer. Just kind of something I do intuitively after doing this for so many years. All right, then I'm laying out my fabric and laying down a black double-tiered skirt so I can figure out how much fabric to set aside. And it looked like I had just enough, but it really depends on making sure I can lay out all my pieces exactly correct, because I'm going to need to be able to use pretty much all of this fabric and have very little salvage left. So after I played around with the layout a bit, I decided to mark it with this red fabric pen. I really like these. They wash out really easily. I prefer it over using regular things like regular pens and regular pencils. And then I'm marking my area where I want to be able to cut the skirt fabric out as well. These last remaining pieces were kind of tricky to figure out how to fit in, but I managed to fit them in just barely. All right, so next up I am cutting all of my fabric pieces out. And typically I would have actually layered this with the lining fabric and cut them both at the same time, but my lining fabric was not the exact same size as this one large piece that I had, so I ended up cutting them out separately. But if you end up having the exact same yardage for both, then I actually recommend cutting them out together. So for me, this was a project of using up old scrap fabric, and that meant I was using odd shaped pieces of white lining fabric. So now I'm throwing it in my trusty Brother sewing machine. I've had this thing for over 10 years. It's amazing. It was not even that expensive either. I think it was maybe 150 bucks when I got it. It has been extremely reliable. I love this little thing. I have sewn leather with it. I have sewn backpacks. I've sewn canvas. I have sewn couch cushions. I've sewn vintage couch cushions together with this, made out of really thick canvas that had glue on the other side. Yeah, this machine is wild. So right now I'm pretty much just sewing all of my bodice pieces and all of my lining pieces for the bodice. With stuff like this, it is important to remember that you need to mirror your pattern when you're cutting it. That way you won't accidentally cut two that end up facing the same direction. Luckily, I haven't done that in years because I do remember to flip my pattern pieces. It's also super important to iron your pieces as you go. I try to avoid this as much as possible just because I don't like changing up what I'm doing midway. Basically, if I'm sewing, I want to be sewing, and if I'm ironing, I want to be ironing. But there are certain times in which it's necessary in the process to be doing this. So I actually do recommend it, especially for making sure that your seams lay flat before you continue to sew. So I'm finishing up sewing a few more pieces here, and I even used my serger to finish the inside seam so it looks very professional. I did a little test fit, and for the most part it was coming out good, and the next step was basically to add some elastic in the back. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm marking where the spots for the elastic will go. So these bodice cups were kind of tricky. I played around with them a few times, but in the end they came out really nicely. I was pretty happy with it. And right here I am sewing the tiered skirt part together and adding the elastic to the waistband for that as well. The key differences between mine and hers would be mine is made out of cotton while hers is made out of a more stretchy, I think it was like a nylon blend. Mine is not as stretchy because of that, so I had to modify it. I also put some detachable ties on the back of it instead of making mine a permanent fixture. The overall length of it I do believe is shorter, and I put this V-cut on the bottom because I'm really into that right now and I think it looks really good on me, so I want to embrace more of that. In order to make mine stretchy, because it is not, I put shirring in the back of it. After being in Lolita fashion for several years, you just learn to put elastic in everything, and then everything fits great. I also made the straps for the bow detachable. I put buttons on the inside because I thought about how much I love versatility, and there might be times where I want to wear it without that bow in the back, and sometimes I do. I thought about how I might want to put the straps on the skirt as well. So the fabric for the top and the skirt was 50 cents for everything. And then I went on Etsy because as much as I do love drafting patterns for days and days on end, I wanted to be able to get this video out to y'all on time. So I went to Etsy and went to someone who already makes patterns, and I bought a dress that basically had this top, the Milkmaid top, and it was like $3.50. So that plus my fabric, in total, this outfit cost me $4. And the original set, if I had bought the top and skirt while still affordable, would have been closer to $60. I hope that this inspires you. I will put links for the Etsy shop down below if you want to be able to download your own pattern and give this a go. I modded mine a little bit. My recommendation for you, if you have any sewing skills and you want to do this, would be measure your torso beforehand, because the one thing I failed to do was I made it the way that the pattern had suggested, and I forgot my torso is a bit shorter than the standard one. So I ended up having to cut about an inch off the bottom. It worked out, but it's just one of those things where if I'd measured myself beforehand, I could have saved myself a little extra time because I did have to seam rip it and all of that other jazz. Here is the matching skirt that I also made. I wanted it to be inspired by the Blogilates skirt, but I thought to myself, for me personally, it doesn't need to be a skirt because I can just wear a pair of frilly shorts underneath this or my workout shorts and then turn it into a skirt. My skirt's a little different. It is a double-tiered skirt. I've been pretty obsessed with double-tiered skirts lately. I just love how floofy they look and full and girly I feel in them, and I don't know, they're amazing. I didn't use any pattern for this. I just made it from scratch. I used every square inch of that fabric. I think I had about maybe only a yard. And let me tell you, there was this much left when I was done, which I think I'm going to use that little square to make a matching bow that I can clip in my hair. I really love the way that this came out. And when I piece them together, it looks like I'm wearing a dress, which is great. So once again, a lot of what I like for my wardrobe is versatility with my pieces, pieces that I can wear on their own or wear together. And overall, $4, I'm pretty happy with how this came out. So yeah, let me know what you think about these pieces. Really curious to hear what y'all think about all of this in terms of, do you have a preference when it comes to the white and blue floral trend? Do you like it at all? And let me know what your favorite piece was overall in the Blogilates line for the summer drop, or even for the winter drop if you got something. I'd be really curious to hear about it. Also, I have another 50-cent piece that I'm going to be constructing that is inspired by the Blogilates line. And I don't have a pattern for that one. So we will see how that goes. And if you want to see that video when it drops, make sure you are subscribed to my channel. I have much more content I'll be rolling out soon. Wardrobe styling things, sustainable ideas, even some very interesting tips for decluttering that I haven't heard anyone quite talk about yet. Thank you so much for watching this video. And that's all for this one. I will see you in the next video. Peace.